So normally you continue stretching the sample material until it breaks, until it breaks into two pieces. Breaks in two. And so if you plot out the XX stress versus the XX strain, so let's plot sigma XX versus EXX. And here's what it looks like. So this is the normal stress along the loaded axis, and this is the normal strain along the loaded axis. Before you load it at all, there's no deformation. And then as you increase the normal stress, as you apply bigger and bigger forces, you get very nearly linear relationship between stress and strain up to this point. Do I have these named? I'll call this A. Okay. And then after that, it stops being as linear. So it starts to do something like that. Then you get a little region like this, and then it starts getting stiffer again, and then here's where it fails. From 0 to A is the linear elastic region of this graph. Okay, this is the region where you're going to measure Poisson's ratio and Young's modulus. So you're going to measure E and nu here. And this is also the only place that your compliance matrix is useful. So you can think of that represents the size of deformation where the compliance matrix is a useful thing for which that compliance matrix is useful. After A, it's funny, it tends to be right about at that point A where two different things happen. Okay, and there's no reason that they have to happen at exactly the same spot, but it's close enough that we're just going to treat it like they happen at the same place. Two things happen. The stress strain becomes nonlinear. So you can't use that matrix relationship anymore. And deformations become permanent. Okay, so for deformations up to this size, you can load it as much as you want up here. When you let go of that force, it returns back to its original shape. Okay, but right around here, when you hit the end of that linear elastic region, if you stretch it past that point and let go, it's going to be longer than it was. It's going to have a permanent deformation. So this region here is what we care about in this class. That's not to say that after there's permanent deformation, you know, there's no use anymore for engineers. There is, but in this class, we're just not dealing with that. And for the most part, the elastic region is the more useful region for engineering applications. Obviously, like for if you're doing research on car collisions or something, then what matters is this nonlinear region, you know, because you want to know what's going to happen after these big deformations happen. But most of the time, like if you're building structures, you're building them in a way that you're hoping they're not going to leave the elastic region, and so this is what you care about. That point A is called the yield stress. And yeah, that point is the failure point.